Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen, where food and fitness come to hang out. Nutrition, training, and life. It's all fair game on Meathead Test Kitchen.
Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen, a podcast where we believe that the internet is a wonderful place and a terrible one because two things can be true at the same time. I'm Sasha.
I'm Sadie.
And so Sadie had this awesome idea the other day for an episode for this week. Think Flying Spaghetti Monster. Because Lord knows that we have a love-hate relationship with social media and the internet in general. But we wanted to try to explain the risk versus reward this week. So we're going to continue this series. We'll probably do one more next week. And if you like it, let us know and we'll keep doing them.
Send us a letter via email.
Yes.
hello@meatheadtestkitchen.com.
Or you can slide into the DMs at Meathead Test Kitchen everywhere except for Twitter, where we're at MTK Staff. So we're going to approach this episode a little bit differently. So this week we're going to list a good thing and a bad thing at the same time and then break those things down. So buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride.
We have, how many different PowerPoint presentations have you and I collectively sat through about target demographics and social media best practices?
Oh my goodness.
Like, parts of the job that nobody really tells you about when you started a media career 15 years ago before social media took over is how many fucking meetings you're going to have to sit in where you talk about how to properly word a Facebook post so that you get someone to actually click the fucking link.
Yes.
Like, when we talk about social media, yes, we're talking about our own personal experiences. We're also talking about our own professional experiences as talent, but also as people who have sat through many hours of education on how to effectively target and use social media.
Right. And we talk about social media on this podcast all the time. And that's why we're like, when Sadie brought that up, I was like, this is a fantastic, we need to like dive into this. We're going to give some nerdy stats about stuff and just have an overall conversation about like, yes, social media and the internet are important, obviously, but I think that there are things that get overlooked because we're so used to being on it anymore.
We totally take what we have for granted, and sometimes we let that drive things that we don't realize we're letting slide.
Yes.
Let me put it that way.
Yes.
Like, there are things that we all sign up to unknowingly when we agree to terms and conditions on any app.
Because no one's fucking reading that shit.
No, nobody's going through that 20 fucking page referendum. Nobody wants that.
And if you are, good on you, but I'm not fucking doing that.
I'm clicking agree and moving on with my fucking day.
Oh, you want my firstborn child and my left foot? Sweet. Sign me up. Have it. All yours.
See you later.
Goodbye.
Wasn't going to have that baby anyway. Enjoy. But like, yeah, social media can be a really great thing. Like, we've all found really amazing people via social media. We're not saying don't use it at all. We're not saying don't use it because it can be awesome and it can still be an enjoyable place once you figure out how to make it an enjoyable place for you.
Yes.
It's one of those things where you kind of have to put the onus on yourself. No one's going to do it for you, but those block and mute buttons are at your fucking disposal. Yeah. You can use them as much as you want. There's not a limit to how many people you can block.
Did you say ownness?
Ownness. Yeah.
It's onus.
Onus. I don't know, whatever. I've heard it pronounced both ways. Again, podcasting is just mispronouncing words you've said wrong forever, apparently. Ownness. Onus? I don't fucking know. The ownness. You own it.
No, I like that.
Is that a word?
It's onus.
The quality or state of belonging to oneself. Ownness. Yeah.
Wow.
See?
Well, see, we both learned something new today.
We're both right. Yeah. Anyway, so I like when we're both right.
Yes.
It's way better than when one of us is right because then it's just like
weird.
We're both stubborn and the other person's just not going to admit that they're not right for like 5 minutes. But anyway, so like it's on you to make social media the place that you want to hang out in. And I say that from a place of experience because I have left and come back to social media so many fucking times that you would laugh at me. But you have to do it sometimes because we're going to talk about why social media is the way it is here in a minute. But like, again, we're not just two random assholes that are just spouting bullshit about nothing. We have receipts. You can find all of the references that we're using for today's episode in the show notes at meatheadtestkitchen.com.
Always link our sources. And a lot of times if there's like stats involved, I'm literally like copy pasting because like
we
here's
try to
the
cite it as much as we
information.
can, yeah.
So those are always going to be in the show notes.
But man, I remember specifically one time I was working in Lincoln as a music director at a radio station, and we were sitting in on a meeting, and this was when Facebook was still top dog, so this tells you how long ago this was. We were talking about how to use Facebook posts and targeted ads, because targeted ads were new at the time, to get to millennial consumers. Because back in the day, we were the target demographic before, everybody started chasing Gen Z. Yeah. Everybody was chasing us. And I'm like 24, and I am sitting in this fucking PowerPoint in this like bougie ass conference room in middle of Nashville, Tennessee on like a Wednesday afternoon with a bunch of old white guys.
Oh yeah. Lovely.
And I'm just like, these guys have no fucking idea what they're talking about. They're talking about marketing to people that they don't even, they're talking.
Yeah, they've never spoken to.
Because at the time, it was country music. So the country music target demo is women 25 to 45.
Right.
That's your money demo. You want the older college students and the soccer moms. That's who gives you your money. So that's what they were talking about. And I'm like, these motherfuckers have no clue this is when I started to realize that men had no idea, A, what women want, or B, how to talk to us.
Yeah.
When I started going to these fucking seminars, dude. I'm like,
now they don't even have to do that because they mine your data.
Yeah, now they just mine your data. You don't even know that you're giving them metrics that you're giving them, and we're going to talk about that. So like, the internet can be a really good way to get your information or to get information out there very quickly. It can also be a really good way to spread misinformation. And we're not going to get political today, but we're going to discuss how this applies to the fitness and nutrition space and how it can positively and negatively affect your fitness journey or even your mental health.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Anyone, anywhere can post anything that they want to, any information, and people somewhere will believe it no matter how wrong it is or how true it is.
Because we all have biases.
Exactly. And a lot of times, especially companies are preying on those biases in case you were not aware.
They're taking advantage of you in ways you don't even realize.
Exactly. You don't believe us? There are videos lying to people about carbs, exercise, and even fucking drinking water on the goddamn internet. So it's your job to verify what's bullshit and what isn't.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of Googling for the love of whatever you believe in.
Despite what our math teachers told us 25 years ago, I do have a calculator in my pocket at all times. It's a fucking supercomputer that has more memory on it than my first actual PC did. This thing farts and it has more hard drive space than my first computer did. Had 4 gigs on a hard drive. You can't play The Sims on a 4 gig hard drive,
like
dude.
Anymore. No way. No way.
One song, if it's in the right file type, is 4 gigs.
Yes.
Dude, that's a movie. But anyway, so like media literacy, we talk about it. You've heard us talk about it before. We are big fans of it as we are like traditionally classically trained broadcasters.
Yeah.
Like we are big sticklers about media literacy and like journalistic integrity. Sasha and I don't fuck around with that shit. If you see us go after somebody on Twitter for something they said, it's because they deserve it, because they crossed a line they shouldn't have crossed. They're our peers too. We can fucking yell at them just as much as anybody else.
You gotta be willing to call something when it's bullshit.
Yes.
If it smells like shit and it looks like shit, it's probably fucking shit.
Yep.
Period.
So like if you've listened to this podcast a while, you've heard us mention media literacy a time or 5. It teaches individuals to apply critical thinking to media messages and to use media to create your own messages. We live in the age of Google.
Yes,
critical
we do.
thinking, like it's I have this conversation at least once a week. I feel like we have all of the fucking information in the literal universe available at our fingertips, and what do we use it for? To tell people to eat horse paste because they got COVID. Like,
yeah. Jesus.
Where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong?
We won't dive into that today because that could be a whole series long podcast.
But like, that's the fucking tangent this timeline went off on. That's our Back to the Future sub 1985. That's our 1985B. How the fuck did we get here?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You could look up how to do nuclear fission in your kitchen, but instead you're telling people that carbs are going to kill them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a lot of times it's for shock value to get clicks or to
always for
clout or whatever. If you don't believe that folks are getting their information from the internet and or social media in 2020, There was a study done, a poll done. 78.5% of traditional media reporters polled use social media to check for breaking news. 59% of Twitter users and 31% of Facebook users polled followed breaking news from these sites. Social media, okay? So social media sites are one of the top news sources for 46% of Americans, compared to 66% for television. Obviously, television is probably going to be the number one for that for a while, but 26% for printed newspapers and 23% for radio. Social media users have even been responsible for breaking news before it hits the news cycle.
Yeah. I mean, look at when all the BLM stuff happened a couple summers ago, like, I mean, shit, it happened. I saw it happen live on the ground in Puerto Rico in 2019. Like, social media, Facebook Live specifically, was giving us news faster than the traditional media outlets could give us about what was happening with the protests and the riots.
Well,
and all
hell,
that stuff.
there was just something and this wasn't even news. This was an actual individual who was shooting people in Memphis and live streaming it.
That's not the first time that's happened.
No,
either.
it isn't. Like,
people have done it on Twitch. Like, it's completely fucked.
Yeah.
And people, I haven't seen the movie Nope yet, but I'm not going to ruin it for any of you. But like, the spectacle of the internet has ruined humankind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Without giving anything about that movie away, that's what that movie is about. And like, know that going in, because Jordan Peele movies are going to make you fucking think, and you're going to have to watch it again.
Yep.
I'm so glad that like he went off on his fucking horror tangent. It's been so beautiful. Like some of his movies are so good that I can't watch some of them because they fuck with me. Like I've read the synopsis and I'm like,
oh boy. Yeah. Yep.
I ain't fucking with that. I love you, but I can't do that. No, I'll read it. That sounds awesome though. But like, everybody does, we've talked about this before, you've heard me bitch about this before, like everybody lives for the fucking like. Mm-hmm. Stop. There's an episode of Black Mirror about it.
You don't even realize that you're doing it.
No.
I mean, it's really difficult, I think, for me, like in this space, like, because I want the podcast to do well. So like when we post something, we've gotten some traction from posting things on platforms like TikTok. But constantly refreshing to make sure that it's doing well is not good for my mental health.
Or if one pops off and you know that you're going to have to ride the comment section all day long to make sure that nobody's being a dickhead to either you or your followers. It's, people are like, oh, it must be so easy. But it's like, no, it's a fucking chore. It's a job just like any other fucking job.
Yep.
And people think it's ironic that we rail about social media and they're like, well, you have to promote yourself on social media. Yes, we do have to promote ourselves on social media. Everybody does. You're a small business owner. Guess what? Now you're a fucking creator too. Yep. Because otherwise nobody's going to know about your shit.
Yep. That's just the way that it is. I think that it's a little disheartening too, just to see how, and we're going to spend just a second on this, or some, we'll expand upon this a little bit more in a second.
We'll come back after the tangent, we promise.
But I think that the thing that gets me is I go off on this all the time. Every single goddamn time I do a live, I fucking rail on this. It's the constant feeling like you have to compare yourself or thinking that you've got to do this, that, or the other thing in order to be on the right path of your fitness journey. And it's like, man, no, it's not that complicated.
No,
it really doesn't need to be.
Do what you like.
Yep.
Like that's it.
Yep.
Do what you like.
Yep.
And if somebody doesn't like what you're doing, as long as you're not hurting anybody, fucking move on with your day.
Yep.
Pay them no mind.
Exactly.
And I know that's easier said than done, but the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
It really is. Sure. It really is one of those things that you can practice and master. The art of not giving a fuck. Oh my God. If that is one thing that I wish I could gift to every single person that I care about in my life, like here's my bag of no fucks. Enjoy. Right. Now we have 2 bags of no fucks.
Exactly.
Spread the love. Buy a third.
Yeah.
But like the downside to this whole thing about social media being our breaking news is that misinformation can spread faster and farther than the truth because it's sensational.
Yes.
When you sensationalize something, people are going to want to talk about it. And sometimes we've talked about it before. Sometimes the actual answer isn't sexy. So if it's not sexy, how can you market that?
Exactly. And I think that sometimes that I have to remind myself of that fact sometimes, because when something is true and it's just blunt and it's factual information, it's not sexy, it's not sensationalized, so people don't want to really interact with it, or they'll blow by it because it doesn't fit the narrative that they've made up for themselves in their head.
It's the bullshit effect. I don't remember what it's called. We've mentioned it before, but it is the actual thing that says it takes so much more work to undo a lie than it does to just like,
it sure does.
So from the same poll that we mentioned earlier, 64% of people who use Twitter for news say that they've encountered something they quote unquote later discovered wasn't true. 64%. That's almost 2/3 of Twitter users.
Yes. And there's almost
a lot. 2/3. That's, you know how many billions of people use Twitter worldwide?
Yeah.
64%, cabron.
Yeah. That's
I don't like those
that's
odds.
Staggering.
Yes, that's pretty scary, actually.
It really is.
And when you look at what's happened in America over the last 5 years, it makes a whole lot of fucking sense. So like they've later discovered that something wasn't true. I'm that friend that if you post a link and it's bullshit, I'll be like, I'll DM you. I'm not going to put you on blast, but I'll be like, hey dude, you shared this. I don't think you know the full story. Here's some more about that.
Yeah.
People have done that for me, and I appreciate that shit because it makes me, in the long run, not look like a dumbass.
That and you're educating yourself.
Yes.
You know?
And you know what? Sometimes it does suck to be wrong.
It does.
Everybody wants to be right. But sometimes when you're wrong and you know you're wrong, just say, thank you for letting me know. I will do better next time.
Yes, exactly. It's as simple as that.
It really is. It really is. That's all you have to do.
Yes.
So there was a study published in the Journal of Science that found that lies spread 6 times faster than the truth on Twitter, and fake news is retweeted more often than actual news.
I put these statistics in here in these percentages because I think it's very important to realize that 64% is like mind breaking.
That's wildfire.
Yeah. And this doesn't just apply to news. This also applies to like just about anything, including and maybe specifically in the fitness and nutrition arena. Snake oil sells faster than unsexy factual information, unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier.
Try this booty balm. It's going to give you an ass of the gods.
Man.
Do some fucking glute kickbacks and some squats. Call me next week.
Right. And I understand the need or wants or the facade of the need or want to have these things happen fast. But as you know, and if you've been listening to the podcast a while, you know what I'm about to fucking say. 1, your mileage may vary. But 2, if it looks like bullshit and looks like it's too good to be true, it probably fucking is. This shit takes time. And I understand that it's really difficult to be patient and we want what we want when we want it, but that's just not how it fucking works in this area. It just isn't. I'm sorry.
We see, the other thing that factors into this, and I'm not going to shit on actors or actresses because they're just doing their jobs, but we see these amazing body transformations happen with actors in the span of 6 to 8. Phil and I were talking about this yesterday.
Did you see that video the other day from Rob from, I can't pronounce his last name correctly and I don't want to botch it, but from It's Always Sunny? Somebody asked him how he got his body. He goes, well, it's really simple and everyone can do it. All you have to do is basically is like you have to starve yourself and you have to work out 8 hours a day and you have to have a personal chef. No big deal, right?
Yeah, that's how they do it. But that's exactly what we were talking about. Like people don't realize like when actors do this shit, so like when
it's really extreme.
It is very extreme. So like they are dedicating their entire waking day to looking like whatever they need to look like for the first day of filming. And there have been a lot of actors and actresses now that are coming out and they're like, dude, it's so fucking unhealthy. We don't get enough time to actually properly do this. And then when we try to, refeed and come back from it, we're fucking wrecked.
Yep. Your body doesn't like extreme shit, man.
No. So like when you see famous people do that shit, it was very deliberate. It was literally their only job. And they had
a lot of help.
They had a shit ton of help. They had a fucking personal trainer that probably came to their house or that they met privately.
Yep.
They have a personal chef that decides, the macro. They don't even have to think about what they're eating. They don't plan their menu. Someone fucking does that for them. Like there are so many. So when you see people like the Kardashians trying to delve out information about health and nutrition and like lifestyle, don't listen to that fucking shit. They don't have any fucking clue what it's like to be a normal person.
No. And we're normal ass people. Okay. It's so goddamn frustrating.
It is. It's so epically fucking frustrating. And as people that have worked around people that are way more famous than us for a very long period of time, you see and hear a lot of fucking bullshit from people. And I'm not going to throw anybody specifically under the bus, really, because that's not what we do, except for the Kardashians, because they're a scourge to the planet. But whatever. Like, if something looks off, there's probably a reason why, is what we're saying. Trust your gut. For the love of God, trust your gut. You have instinct. Use it.
Yes, exactly.
If something doesn't look right, go to reputable sources. If it's about health or fitness, those things could be like the Mayo Clinic. They could be livestrong.com. They could be WebMD. You could call your doctor.
You could look up peer-reviewed studies.
Yes. That's all you have to do. And yeah, it's going to require a little bit of reading, but you were already looking it up anyway, so you want to learn about it, right? You may as well learn the right shit.
Exactly. Like, I understand.
If you're going to read an article, why read the bullshit one when you could actually fucking know what's going on instead?
Right. Yeah. If it seems sensationalized or seems off, or it seems like if they're linking something for you to fucking buy, they're only trying to get money from you, and they're sensationalizing it because they know it fucking works.
I wish that people had to take marketing classes in college.
No
so that
shit.
People would know this
Everyone
Seriously,
should have to.
Marketing is such it's in everything.
And we are going to talk. We're going to talk about that towards the end of this episode.
Yes.
We saved it for that specifically for a reason.
Yes. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere, literally.
The internet can help a lot of people improve their relationships and make new friends, but it can also isolate you and hurt your in real life relationships. Now, I'm not going to categorize your like friends as like IRL and online, but like they're your in-person friends and your online friends. So like when you have a pre-existing relationship with somebody and then like you just ghost, that's weird.
Yeah. That is weird.
If there's no reason and you just disappear, that's weird. Don't do that to people.
Yes.
Like give them, you don't have to do a lot. Just like poke them every now and then like, hey fucker, how you doing?
What's up? Yeah. Just a simple, how are you?
You could meet like your soulmate online, you know, but there's also like
friends getting married in a couple weeks that met on a dating site.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Phil and I think interacted for the first time on, was it MySpace?
Yeah.
I think. God damn. Again, dating myself with old people internet references here, but MySpace.
It's all right.
I miss MySpace. What a magical time of the internet. Yep. Oh my God.
So many emo pictures. So many.
The raccoon tails were plentiful on MySpace.
Oh, yeah. You think I have dark eyeliner now? Whoo.
Dude.
I had the swoop. I had blonde bangs and the rest of my hair was black. Great time. So here's some nerdy stats about
wristbands
this
up to your elbows.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Some nerdy stats. 93% of adults on Facebook use it to connect with family members. 91% use it to connect with current friends, and 87% use it to connect with friends from the past.
This is why I don't have Facebook.
Or stalk people or your exes. Family. Okay? Let's be honest. I don't do that, but I used to.
I don't do that.
I'm just being honest.
Dude, we've all played fucking Facebook sleuth, okay?
Oh, yes.
Facebook, SVU, we've all done it.
Oh, yes.
Law and Order, Facebook.
Or before you date somebody, you got to go see what are you doing. 72% of teens connect with friends via social media. 81% of teens aged 13 to 17 reported that social media makes them feel more connected to people in their lives. And 63% said using it makes them feel supported in tough times. 57% of teens have made new friends online. That could be gaming. That could be a social media site. That could be whatever. The internet.
Bless the internet, but also curse the internet. Damn.
Yeah.
I just God. Somebody put up a post about girls that remember their LiveJournal URL the other day. I'm like, I'm one of those girls. I don't even know what this is supposed to mean. What the fuck?
I just remembered what mine was, and I will not repeat it here because no one needs to see what I was writing 12 years ago.
You should go back and revisit it. It's good for you. Here's why it's good for you, because I know that your shit looks a lot like what my shit looks like.
Oh, I'm sure it did. And you know what I did?
And you'll look at that now and be like,
I would
wow,
write,
I have grown a fuck ton as a person.
Back in the day when you just post song lyrics.
Oh, I still do that.
Just so that, based at somebody.
I still do that.
But that's what my LiveJournal posts looked like. It was all veiled and only I knew what any of it fucking meant. So stupid.
Mine was whining about why doesn't this boy like me?
Oh, there was a ton of that.
Me not realizing that my anxiety was what it was because I was 15 years old, and why should a fucking 15-year-old constantly have anxiety?
Yeah.
But
you know what? I said 12 years ago. I was using LiveJournal when I was 18, 19. So that was fucking 20 years ago.
I think my last live journal post was like the summer of 2006.
Wow. Yeah, I think mine was about that time too.
Right before my brother got sick.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I quit using it because I wouldn't want to revisit any of that shit on a fucking live journal.
I used to write a lot of poems. When I lived in Minneapolis, this is morbid. I know
Songs.
this is like random tangent time. Sorry.
Did you go to the cemetery and write poems?
I did.
You're a goth kid. Yes.
I fucking did. It was my
friend.
favorite. It was my favorite spot in the city. Like you could see all of downtown Minneapolis from there.
I am wearing my Alkaline Trio t-shirt today, so you're fine.
I would legit go up there late at night, and it was usually after I hung out with the kid I liked when I was living in Minneapolis, and I'd be all fucking sad because I didn't understand why he didn't like me, and all of my fucking poems then were from that too. I was like, I'm gonna make these into song lyrics.
Oh my god, we
teen angst.
We are the same person.
Or late teens, early 20s angst. Anyway.
We are, Jesus Christ. Like, you want, like, OG emo kids? Hello.
Yeah. Yes. Hi. You've come to the right place.
The new wave kids did it first, but we did it on the internet.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Sure did. We sure did.
But you can meet people that you probably would never have the opportunity to meet in real life because of the internet and the places that you find yourself in. Like, Sasha and I, we worked in the same industry, but we never actually, like, met. In like, we had that one crossing of paths, and you're in Jenny's office that one day that I had to come pick something up from HR.
Yeah,
but that was about it. Like, and then I moved, and we started talking on Twitter. Like, lots of shit wouldn't happen if it weren't for the internet and social media.
Exactly.
Like, again, we're not telling you don't use social media because we understand how necessary it is in our lives these days because that's just how it is. You need it in some capacity, and if you don't, you know, I wish we could all Paul Reddit and just not fucking care about having social media, but not everybody is that way, and that's fine.
Not everyone has the luxury.
But social media addiction is also a very real thing, and it affects people more than you would think. A study that came out in 2016 found that overuse of social media as an adolescent may decrease success in relationships later in life as online communication hinders the development of conflict management skills and awareness of interpersonal cues. And this is why I feel like we are where we are as a society.
I think that's why you see so much stuff. I see it, well, and we're in the fitness and nutrition space, so that's what our reference point is. But you see it all the time. People are shaming other people.
Yes.
People are fucking bullying other people. People are saying shit that they think is helpful when really, as a societal cue, should not be coming out of your mouth or typed on a keyboard. Like,
I see those people and I say out loud to myself, nobody's ever fucking slapped you before. No one has ever fucking put you in your place before, and it fucking shows. No one has ever looked at you and said, man, shut the fuck up. Seriously, no. Like no one has ever done that for you, and I feel sorry for you because you have no fucking social awareness whatsoever.
And it's
like,
sad.
And I'm not endorsing slapping people, but like that was a figure of speech.
Yes,
but I was just like, Jesus, no one has ever fucking put you in your place before, and I feel like that's the problem with a lot of people that we interact with on a daily basis in these spaces. They think that they're these fucking alpha males, or it can be anybody, but like in our experience, it's people that think that they're these alpha males. Well, guess what? Alpha males aren't fucking afraid of women. Alpha males fucking respect women as their equals because they also realize that alpha women are at the top of their fucking game too.
Exactly. Like, strength recognize strength.
Yes, game always recognizes game. Like, and if you are upset because a woman has something, you really need to examine why you feel that way.
Yes.
Why do you feel that way? Is it just because I have tits? Is it just because I have tits? Because if I had a dick, would it really change how you felt? I'm still the same fucking person with the same fucking accomplishment.
Yes. Are you jealous because you can't lift as much?
Yeah.
And what are we doing here? Stop.
You need to fucking work on yourself.
Go to therapy.
Dude, seriously. You know how many times I want to just be like,
literally go talk to somebody.
You need to talk to a professional.
I would love it if you were confident.
Yes. Please.
For you.
Do us all a favor. Go to therapy and learn to be fucking nice.
No shit.
God damn.
So one study found that the more Facebook friends an individual has makes using the app more stressful for them. Researchers also found that active Twitter use leads to greater amounts of Twitter-related conflict, but then that crosses over into real fucking life with romantic partners, which can lead to infidelity, breakup, and divorce.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks that what you say online, like, is just a vacuum. No. Like, we very much have seen things that have been said on Twitter come back to have repercussions in someone's life in a very real fashion, like losing their job. And people are like, oh, well, the First Amendment says. No, the First Amendment protects you from the government. The government can't arrest you if you say, well, I fucking hate the president.
The First Amendment doesn't protect you from consequences of your fucking actions.
Your employer is a private business. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They're not the government. Well, if they are the government, then that's a different conversation.
Okay, cool.
But like, if you work for a fucking random ass company and you say, I hate black people on Twitter, like, don't be surprised if someone fucking calls your employer and says, hey, your salesperson's a racist. Like,
yes. Like, freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence.
No, yes. The First Amendment doesn't protect you from consequences of you being a dumb shit.
No shit.
Like, seriously. I wish we could make that more fucking clear, and I don't know how to make it any more fucking clear than that. The First Amendment doesn't protect you from consequences of your own ass writing checks you can't cash.
Yes. Yep.
God. Quit misconstruing things that you don't understand.
Right. And if you don't understand it,
read about it.
Find a way to understand it.
Yeah, it's okay if you don't know something. It's allowable.
Literally. Yes.
It's okay. Yes. You can learn about things.
Yes. Whether that's the First Amendment or whether that's fucking how to properly squat.
Anything.
Literally anything.
Anything. Reading Rainbow. Open a fucking book, please. But if you find yourself feeling like you're relying on social media too much or the internet too much, it might be a good opportunity to address that. Take a break from your phone. If you're finding that you're comparing yourself too much to other people or that your self-worth is diminishing because of what you've been looking at online, it's also worth taking a step back. And I'm not going to say like nuke your Instagram, but maybe unfollow some stuff.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe mute some things for a little while and see how you feel. If you feel better, then unfollow those things.
If you're feeling like shit every time you use a social media app because of the things that you're following or interacting with, sometimes we don't realize that we're doing that, and that's where that's coming from either.
Life is too short to make yourself fucking miserable.
Oh my goodness. And I understand it. Like, you want to follow certain people because you want to learn some things from them, but when you find yourself in a space where you're like, gosh, why can't I do that? Or why can't I look like that? Or like, that's where it gets dicey.
Here's how I handle accounts like that make me feel like that. I will unfollow them, but I will still continue to see what they're doing every now and then. I still know that they exist over there.
Drop in.
I'll just go dip in. I'll go dip in on my own fucking accord every now and then, fly casual and get the fuck out.
Yes. Yep.
Like, you can still like see what people are doing. You don't have to follow somebody to be a fan of them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, if you were like, hey, I'm a fan of the podcast, I'd be like, awesome, thanks for listening. You know what? That's what I care about. I don't give a fuck. I give a fuck if you follow us on Instagram for certain things because we can get paid for stuff. But, like, by and large, if you listen to the podcast, you're giving me the download, and that's what we're really ultimately after. Exactly. So thank you for being here. But, like, people put too much weight on what is on their social media.
Yeah, they really do. And
too much.
That's where we're like, ugh. Okay, just take a step back if you need to.
Please.
Your online experiences can also help open your eyes to a new way of thinking or a new perspective. It can disarm stigmas, but it can also facilitate bullying.
Yes, it can.
Being able to connect with people over things that you thought were totally unique to you it can be a really fun experience because you don't feel alone. Or random thoughts in your head.
Weird.
Yeah, for sure. 1,000%. The one thing I love about The answer about
is
TikTok
no,
is that I'm cool with not being an individual in any fucking way, shape, or form, but it makes me feel better that, like, I'm not fucking alone because I'm fucking weird. I like being weird, but, like, I'm glad I'm not alone. There's so many communities that we've found ourselves in that are amazing, and the folks within those groups are uplifting and understanding of the struggles that everybody goes through when they're on this journey. It's one of the best things that I've found about the internet that I really love is just the community. Being able to connect in that way has really helped with my self-confidence at times. Sometimes we feel like we can't. And then you go and you say that out loud and other people are like, no, you can. You fucking got this.
You're going to go do that thing.
You've got that camaraderie and that, accountability sometimes. So that motivation that we're sometimes always seeking can come from a group that you may belong to.
Yeah.
Just say something out loud, and I guarantee you'll have people uplifting you and encouraging you.
And if they're putting you down, then you shouldn't be hanging out with them. So you're going to learn something either way.
Yes.
We've also learned a ton of awesome things, about people of color, the LGBTQIA plus community, from our friends in the fitness community. Like, it can be a really great place to be sometimes. And sometimes the beauty of it is that you actually have to listen to people. The weird thing about listening to people is, again, you'll learn things when you let other people talk. And the bonus of it is when you say less, people think you're smart for some reason.
Yeah. No, seriously. Here's the thing too. Like, you can learn a totally different fucking perspective. There's so many things that I've learned about by being on social media that I wouldn't have known or been aware of to go research on my own.
Yeah.
Just by being on social media. So it can be enlightening and a really good thing, especially for stigmas or, anything like that. I think that social media has greatly benefited the stigma of women lifting.
Yes.
I think it's greatly benefited the conversation around mental health, just because people are willing to put themselves out there and have those conversations or show people like women can be fucking strong.
There are a lot of really cool things that have happened in the social landscape with the help of social media, for sure. But at the same time, you get that group mentality, and that's when it can get either really great or it can just go to shit really fast.
Yeah. Especially, we live in an echo chamber. That's just how it is. And it can be fun until you end up on the wrong side of that algorithm, or somebody finds your shit and just wants to come and attack you because they're miserable. Finding a community is cool until they turn their backs on you. This happens online a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
You see it all of the time. And you say one thing that was totally benign and someone takes offense to it and wants to come and attack you for no reason.
Let's have a quick tangent about cancel culture.
Yeah.
It's not real. You know how it's not real? Because Morgan Wallen is selling out concerts everywhere after he was on video saying the N-word a year and a half ago. That guy's still getting fucking
Remember
paid.
things for 3 seconds,
Yeah. Cancel culture isn't real. Let's stop fucking talking about it like it is. It's not. People say shitty shit, and guess what? Even shittier people are going to support that shitty shit. It doesn't matter. You could be the worst fucking person in the world, and we've literally seen it happen, and they can get elected to be the fucking head of a country. Dude, it doesn't matter. Cancel culture isn't real, so let's stop talking about it, please.
Yep.
Let's just call out shitty people for the shitty shit they do.
Yep. And that's what it is. It's just calling shit out.
Yes. Remember Gamergate? Maybe you don't. But it was a loosely organized misogynistic online harassment campaign and right-wing bullshit backlash against feminism, diversity, and progressivism in the video game culture that started in 2014. It started as a bunch of girl gamers getting doxxed. And if you don't know what that is, that's when all of your personal information is released on the internet. If it's really bad, it makes its way to 4chan. And it's thankfully never happened to me. It's why I use a fake name for my job. But it was really bad. One of my best friends got kind of caught in it because she's also a gamer. I wasn't gaming at that point, so I was just like, I'm going to stay the fuck away from online gaming for a minute. This is ridiculous. And even now, I'm very protective of the people, that I game with, but the people that I let in to game with, because
Yeah.
The gaming culture, it can be great, but there's also a very dark side to it. There's always two sides to every coin.
Yes.
And you never want to fucking know what the underside of that coin is doing. You don't. Just
really
stay in
don't.
the light. It's better there.
Yes.
It's safer. It's safer in the light.
Yes.
But it's just astonishing to see when somebody does something that doesn't deserve hatred. And someone just completely starts a fucking hate campaign on them.
Yep.
Why?
Yep. It's really easy to get your pitchforks out online. It really, really is. So please be cognizant about the online spaces that you're inhabiting. There are a lot of wolves dressed up as sheep out there. I saw
there are.
a video the other day. It absolutely fucking blew my mind, the reaction to this. This guy went on a date in all 50 states. The women all happened to look similar. He has a type.
Yeah,
okay,
so he's got a type.
And people just went after him.
God.
And I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we upset about this? Why are we wasting our time?
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit? People like what they like. I fucking like Limp Bizkit, okay? Like,
so do I.
Are people gonna come at me because they don't like the band?
Probably.
What if I said I liked Nickelback? Are you gonna fucking come for me?
Don't do that.
There are a couple okay songs. Like, who gives a shit? People like what they like. Like,
early Nickelback is okay.
let them like what they like unless it's harming other people and is fucking really terrible. Like,
ask yourself,
being a homophobe or being a racist. Like, gosh.
Ask yourself, is what this person's doing
important?
Actually hurting anybody? And
No.
if the answer is no, go on with your goddamn day, my friend. Who gives a shit?
Why do we care? Why do we focus on some of the stupidest shit?
Seriously.
You know what I give a shit about? When people are spreading misinformation about fucking food.
Yes.
That shit pisses me off.
Yes.
That shit should be combated. When someone's going on a date with someone and they happen to look similar to every other girl they dated, every single dude I've ever been with has a gigantic nose. I have a type. You gonna come at me because I like big noses? Who fucking cares? It's my thing, not yours. Get out of here. Jesus.
We've heard don't kink shame people before, but seriously, everybody has types. Everybody
do.
does. Everybody has preferences. And if they're not doing it outwardly to be shitty, leave them alone.
Who cares?
Just because that guy liked to date, just because he dated 50 different blonde chicks with blue eyes, and this is hypothetical, I don't even know that this is what they looked like. It could have been, girls with brown eyes and black hair. It doesn't matter. Like, he's not saying that other women are terrible and that you're ugly and shitty and should feel bad about yourself. He just happens
the comments were like,
yeah.
well, why do you have any diversity in the people you're dating? Because he has a preference in what someone looks like. Who fucking cares?
Guess what? I'm bisexual and I'm married to a dude. Who gives a fuck?
No one cares. It doesn't. If it doesn't directly affect you in any way and they're not harming other people, stop giving a shit.
Yes, and we're talking about more than a few shitty subtweets here.
Yes.
Like, we're talking about doxing. We're talking about death threats. We're talking about hacking your accounts. We're talking about all of these things that can happen to someone if someone else online decides that they're big mad at you.
Yes, and there are people out there who have some fucking power, and people will listen to what they have to say.
The shit on the dark web that exists that you don't realize is fucking frightening.
It is very frightening.
Again, stay in the light. It's safer.
Yes, it's really fucking easy to pile.
The Lion King was right.
yeah. It's really fucking easy to pile on someone you don't agree with.
Yes,
it is.
It is.
We get it, but also remember that no matter how stupid or what the fucking bullshit that's coming out of their mouth is, they're still a person. Unless, of course, they're harming other people or they're a bigot. Nobody has time for that fucking shit. Shut that down immediately. Yeah. But if it's a fucking mundane, benign fucking thing, pick and choose the shit you're fucking investing your time into. Yeah. I will make time for certain things to get pissed off about, but I'm not going to fucking make time for other shit.
Certain things are worth being pissed about.
For sure.
Though. Like, and that's okay. You're allowed to be pissed about shit. Go off. Like, if you see something that you think is wrong and you have the receipts and the knowledge to back up your stance, fucking go off, my friend. Go off. Sure. We need more of that shit.
For sure.
The reason that we are in the situation we are in is because all the voices that are yelling right now have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Be the person that does.
If they're shouting at you about fucking oil in a cracker and bare feet in the fucking grocery store, the thing you should be mad about is not the oil. It's the fact that they're barefoot in a fucking grocery store.
Yeah,
okay?
That's disgusting. Don't go barefoot anywhere in public. Do you realize how gross it is out in public?
Ooh, there's people out there.
When I go to when I fly and I see people use the airport bathroom and they don't put their shoes on.
Ooh, God, that's disgusting.
You know that men stand to try to pee while they're flying and we hit turbulence and there's probably piss on that floor, right? I look at these things though and people don't even fucking give it a second thought.
I know, it's fucking bizarre.
Again, no critical thinking.
Right.
It all comes back to possessing critical thinking.
Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen,
where we just scream about people because they don't have any common sense, apparently. Yes. So there's another piece to this that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, and it is your data. And the way that companies use the information they just get from you by being online. It can be really scary when you take a step back and you really think about it. If it does give you pause, it should.
Yes.
Hi, welcome to the reason that we're having this episode. Like, we're driving the point home now. This is what we call the final act. But you need to know that they're using your information.
Yep.
And you can agree to not share certain things, but there's still, Facebook has, I don't know how many terabytes of saved text messages that they told us they weren't saving. That Zuckerberg, I think, was either in court for or is in court for right now.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The purpose of this episode isn't to scare anybody away from using social media or the internet, but it is definitely supposed to poke your brain a little bit, make you think about things differently or less.
Guard your information carefully.
Yes. So let's talk about apps and how they use your information. Do you have ovaries? And you use a period tracker? I shut this shit down immediately.
Yeah, as soon as the Roe v. Wade ruling came out from SCOTUS, I started telling my friends left and right, stop using tracker apps.
They could be using that ovulation information against you if you live in a state that doesn't like abortions. And they can also sell your information to other companies.
Here's another really scary thing that's happening right here in the state of Nebraska. There is a young girl whom the police got her messages from Facebook and are using them against her because she had an abortion.
What?
Did you not hear about that? Oh, that happened in Western Nebraska. Facebook gives texts to police Nebraska.
Yeah.
Nebraska cops use Facebook messages to investigate an alleged illegal abortion. A 41-year-old woman is facing felony charges in Nebraska for allegedly helping her teenage daughter illegally abort a pregnancy, and the case highlights how law enforcement can make use of online communications in a post-Roe v. Wade era. If you have ovaries, this is why we're talking about this right now. We're done fucking around. We're at a serious time because this is some real shit that's happening in the state that Sasha and I are living in right fucking now. Did you not know about this?
No, I didn't. And I'm just sick.
Shit. I'm sorry. I thought you knew about this. This came out a couple weeks ago.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I don't have other words for that.
Yeah, this happened in the beginning of August.
This is a stuff that I didn't think this was going to come up today, but
I didn't either.
I think that it's really important the reason that this section of the podcast is so important is because we don't talk about it enough. I mean, yeah, sure, you can follow certain accounts and stuff, but if you don't want to hear about it and you're not actively following that or not actively paying attention, it's kind of a scary time to be a person that was born with ovaries right now.
Yeah, our rights are under attack in full fucking force. And if you don't believe me, look at what's happening in the state of Texas. I mean, I don't have to go very fucking far. I can drive 3 hours west and I can show you the place where the shit's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's very fucking real and it's happening. It's not hypothetical. It is happening. So if you use period tracker apps, get rid of them.
Yep. Write it down on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Don't do the basal temp app shit either because that's another way that they can track it. I'm not going to say Skynet's watching you, but you think that the fucking government can't figure out what kind of porn you look up on your phone if they don't want to?
Right. Yep. Be aware.
Yes, just know. If living anywhere, I've lived in the hood a couple of times, and if living in the hood has taught me anything, it is that always be aware of your fucking surroundings, cabron, because it will save your fucking life.
Yeah.
If you know what's going on, where things should be, shouldn't be, what's right and what's wrong, you're good.
Yeah.
Because if something's off, then you know.
Yeah.
Not to get all doom and gloom on the end of this episode. That wasn't the point. But we wanted to make it very abundantly clear that your information online is not safe.
Yep.
And the apps that you think are safe are not.
Or not.
Especially when it comes to your reproductive health.
Scary time.
Yes. So be aware. But what about the almighty algorithm that we all hear about on social media? So algorithm by definition is a coded formula that's written into software that when triggered prompts the tech to take relevant action to solve a problem. Well, the problem is whatever you like. And the algorithm's here, have this. So it drives what you see on social media.
Yes.
Why do you have 25 fucking image or videos of women eating fast food for some reason in your Instagram suggestions? I don't know, but the algorithm thought you'd like it.
The algorithm might know you better than you think you know yourself sometimes. It's fucking terrifying.
It's weird.
Everyone is a little bit different, and they're custom tailored to your app usage. So our TikTok is fucking conglomerate of crazy. It's a lot of dogs, a lot of cats, and a bunch of fitness stuff.
And then our friends just, intermingled in there.
Yes. So what's the downside of this? If you or your kid is obsessed with a topic, the app knows and will start feeding you more posts about that topic. There have been a couple of videos, good or bad. There have been a couple of videos on how fast it takes the algorithm to pick up and start feeding people white supremacist stuff.
Yep.
It's a matter of a couple hours. hours.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. And that's with anything. It can be literally, it can be anything. But like, if we're going to talk about things that are actually hurting our society, that's one of them.
Right.
Like, again, it's easy to spread something sensational.
Yes.
And that shit is packaged so sensationally to give you an watch a video about Nazi propaganda, and everything that is happening with the Republican Party in the United States of America will make a whole lot more fucking sense. Like, we caught one because we got cable back the other day, and I was watching some fucking thing about Nazis. And it's like, oh yeah, it was the Nazi propaganda machine, I think is what it was called. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. And Phil and I are just sitting here, and I'm like, history really does fucking repeat itself. We don't learn a goddamn thing, do we? Like, shit. But there is hefty data that suggests that Instagram was funneling eating disorder posts to teenage users who have expressed interest in fitness and nutrition, specifically in dieting. And there's a link in the show notes if you would like to read more about this, but it's anything. Like, you think it's an accident that you mentioned something in a conversation with your friend and then Google just prompted it as a fucking focused ad?
That shit off.
Yeah, that's
you
not an
can go
accident.
into your settings and turn that shit off and try to lessen that stuff.
Yeah.
I've changed all of my settings and all of my apps.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to fucking listen to me.
They will sell your information.
Yes. And that's, I mean, you have to literally go, you might have to Google how to turn off the audio listening fucking part of it. But do it.
Do it. You wonder why you mentioned a big ass fan and then you had a fucking targeted ad to buy one on Amazon 2 days later? Not an accident.
Dude, okay, so I know I bring up the power. I mean, I'll link the power of habit in the show notes. So, okay, so this is also ties together really well. There's a whole entire fucking section in that book about how companies target specific people. This was fucking wild. So one part of it specifically talked about Target. And they're paying attention when you're using the app, when if you've got your app connected to anything, they are monitoring what you're buying. They noticed, and this was they actually got sued over this. They noticed and were tracking, however, they're robots. That's what they call the algorithm.
I mean,
robot.
Yeah.
But they noticed when someone was starting to buy like prenatal vitamins and things like that. So that they were targeting the advertisements and the coupons that they were selling women, specifically in this instance. When they were getting their mailers, it was very specific to the things that they would need and were putting on sale to get them to come and buy their baby items at Target. They got sued for this.
It's funny you mention this because Amazon has said the quiet part out loud before where they're like, we want to send you things that you don't even know you're going to need yet. Think about that for a second and think about how fucking scary that is.
They prey on your habits.
Yes.
That's what the algorithm is doing.
Yes. And someone's going to think we're tinfoil hats, but there are so many studies and reviews that have ended lawsuits over this shit.
Yes. We've linked a few of these things in the show notes. There's a medium.com article that we used. It's really good. Read through the whole thing. But this quote from that article that's linked in the show notes sums up how companies view their online users really fucking well. Mm-hmm. It's kind of long, but bear with me because it's important. You're dealing with some of the largest corporations in the world. They're not designed to be of public benefit.
Yeah.
Period. They're designed to make profit.
Capitalism doesn't give a fuck about humankind. Capitalism wants businesses to make money as fast as possible.
Always comes down to the almighty dollar. You have to think about your information as one of many commodities on any fucking platform. Mm-hmm. And you have to really think about how you want that information to be recorded, used, disseminated, bought, and sold.
Yep.
They are preying on you to make money off of you. Facebook and all of these platforms were created, and I also linked in the show notes because this is where I got it from and that's why it popped in my head. But there is a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. It's really eye-opening on this subject that we're talking about here. But in that, these platforms can't exist without what their commodity is. And the commodity is us.
Your information is the commodity.
You have to be aware. This next phase is an awareness that you're in a commercial environment, that you are the transaction when you're online. You're not just hanging out with your friends. This is about managing your transactional life. Every fucking thing that you interact with online has the potential to be sold to you, and you don't even realize it's fucking happening.
Yep.
There are people that have left companies like Google, etc., and this is in that documentary. It is 90 minutes of your jaw is going to be open because it's not things that you fucking think about. They're trying to get you to spend more time online. Yes. And 9 times out of 10, it's probably working.
I mean, look at the metaverse. They want you to come hang out in the metaverse. Yeah. And now PacSun has a fucking endorsement person that's not even real. Yep. The first virtual influencer. Bitch, that's a fucking, that's Photoshop. You put clothes on Photoshop.
Yep. It can be, we're not saying don't fucking use the internet because obviously it can be a very important tool.
But it's a necessary component of our daily lives.
Also need to be aware that that's how these algorithms work. We are the commodity and we are the thing that's for sale. Our data and all of our interactions online are what's for sale. That's why it's so easy for misinformation of any kind, but I see it all the time in the fitness and nutrition space. And then you see the comment sections and people are like, oh my God, I don't know what to fucking believe.
And that's what they want. They prey on confusion because if you're confused, you're going to go to somebody that is potentially going to give you the wrong answer. It
comes across as the authority. Yeah, it's really easy to do that online.
It is. Again, 2 sides to every coin. You have a 50-50 shot of getting someone that's reputable and someone that's bullshit. And if you don't know anything about the topic, you're not going to be able to distinguish the difference between the two.
And that's how it's unfortunate. And I don't know how you combat it other than we're going to continue to do this podcast and talk about these things. But it's, the sexy thing isn't the thing, or the non-sexy thing isn't the thing that people are interacting with.
Yeah.
They hear, oh my God, you shouldn't be eating peanut butter. There's so much shit in it. It's yeah, okay, but can we all please put in our critical thinking caps? And if that sounds weird and peanut butter's been a part of your life your whole fucking life, but now they're telling you can't have it, look into it.
Water is bad for you.
What? You need water to literally live.
We're made of water.
Yeah. What are we doing?
You know that more than half of us is water.
Yeah.
What?
By the way, drink your fucking water. Stay hydrated, babe.
Those are the people that okay, so in radio we have these things called hot buttons, and that's what this what this is.
Yeah.
This is a hot button pad. But if I had a hot button for life, my fucking first hot button would be the part from Billy Madison where he's like, you've been awarded no points. What you said is the most ridiculous bullshit I've ever heard before. I'm summationing now, but this isn't exactly what it is. But he's like, you are awarded 0 points. We're all dumber for having had to listen to you. May God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, no, seriously.
It's in serio. I'm not fucking kidding.
And they have a million views, and that's on any platform. And it's so, there's a fucking guy who is the V-Shred guy who's please don't fucking eat pizza.
Okay. Our brain cell is dancing today because Phil was on YouTube the other day and I heard that motherfucker's voice and I was like, God damn it, Vince, shut the fuck up with your V-Shred bullshit. The only reason he's famous.
Me and Anthony Kiedis.
The only reason he's famous is because he dated Paige Hathaway, who's an even bigger snake oil salesman than he is.
You've just got to, I know that we talk about this constantly on the podcast, but the reason we did this whole fucking episode is because it's entirely fucking frustrated when people won't listen to factual fucking information.
Yes. The real information is out there.
You're not going to take a pill and lose 50 fucking pounds and keep it off. I'm sorry, but you're not. You're going to have to fucking work for it.
Guess what? You don't work out for a while, you're going to gain weight. I took a year from working off because I had to have surgery. And then I'm just now starting to work out again. Guess what? I atrophied in my fucking left quad muscle. It's smaller than my other leg right now. Does that suck? Yes, that's life. You fucking get out of that hole and you keep fucking building.
Right.
Did I put weight on? Oh, absolutely. I've gained a couple pounds. Who cares? Who gives a shit?
It's the all over.
Life is ebbs and flows.
Yes, absolutely.
Win more than you lose. And that's all that fucking matters at the end of the day, my dudes.
Yep. Keep fucking going. Keep swimming.
We're not trying to freak anybody out with the information that we gave you today. And if you want receipts, all of that shit is cited in the show notes. There's an NPR article talking about what happened in Nebraska with the cops and Facebook. If you want all that information, it is there. Yeah. We're not here to fucking lie to you. That's not what we do. But we want you to know that you, in spaces where you think you're safe, you may not be safe. Mm-hmm. If something feels off, there's probably a reason why. Trust your gut. Consider things that you maybe don't think about often enough. Mm-hmm. And again, this is because we all have biases. We all live in echo chambers. Just because you don't know something doesn't mean you're a fucking asshole. It just means that you have something new that you get to learn about.
Exactly. It's an opportunity.
Yes. And we're so accustomed to using and being online that I think it's easy to pass by or not take certain things into consideration. Mm-hmm. Your safety is a big fucking thing to take into consideration. Absolutely. And that's why we were like, okay, it's fucking time for this episode.
We got to do the whole thing.
It is time. So
I think it's probably a 50-50 risk versus reward. It's paying attention to the things that you're interacting with and not letting it negatively affect your mental health. If you're starting to feel like shit and you're part of a group and every time you go there and you're feeling like shit because you're not getting the support you are seeking, maybe it's time to reevaluate.
If you're hanging out on a Facebook server or a Facebook page or a Discord server with people that just seem to piss you off, leave. They're not your people.
Yep. It's all right.
You're
That's
good.
fine.
That's
you can
okay.
go find some other space.
There's another place to hang out, I promise.
For sure. And if you have any questions or want us to point you in a direction of, a space that you'd like to try out or a more uplifting one, you can always send us a DM. You can send us an email. We're at Meathead Test Kitchen everywhere on social except for Twitter, where we're at MTK Staff. Again, the email address is hello@meatheadtestkitchen.com. The show notes will be on meatheadtestkitchen.com. You can buy merch.
Yeah.
There's a link on our website, or you can go to shop.hurrdatmedia.com.
Get a sick-ass Meathead Test Kitchen t-shirt, bitch.
Be fucking nice shirt in there. I really, really want to. But if you have any questions,
right across the tits, just big block letters, be fucking nice, and then our logo on the back.
If you ever need anything from us, obviously feel free to reach out. We're always available, legit. Just be aware of your surroundings.
Know what's going on. Street smarts.
Yeah.
They're cool. Common sense will get you far. We love you. Be nice, and your hair looks nice.
Yeah. Your outfit's fucking banging today.
And if you don't have hair, I like your shiny dome.
Yeah. MTK.
Out.
Join Sadie and Sasha every Monday, helping to make your fitness and nutrition journey suck less. MTK.